welcome back to Ayana Wellness, forever blooming through movement and sound. Thank you for joining me for this last installment of Vinyasa Yoga, the intermediate series, with a focus on forward folds. Don't forget to check out the other videos of the intermediate series on my YouTube channel, and please subscribe to my channel. And as always, remember to modify. Please listen to your body, honor your intuition, and let's get moving. Starting standing at the top of your mat with hands at heart center, setting an intention for your practice. Engaging your Ujjayi breath. And inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale, folding forward, hinging at the hips. Inhaling up halfway to a flat back. Exhaling your hands to the mat. Stepping back to plank or to knees. Exhale, bending the elbows. Tucking the toes. Inhale, extending the elbows. And exhaling, lifting your hips up and back to our down dog. Maybe bending your knees, reaching the chest towards the thighs, spreading your fingertips wide, relaxing the neck, breathing deeply through the nose. And inhaling, stepping both feet in between your hands, coming up halfway. Exhale, folding forward. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale to back bend slightly. Inhaling up and exhale, folding forward. Inhaling up halfway. Exhaling your hands to the mat, stepping back, going through your Vinyasa. Meeting in our downward dog. Maybe pedaling at your feet. Keep reaching your chest to your thighs, tucking the abs in. Breathing deeply into your nose. And inhaling, stepping both feet in between the hands, coming up halfway. Exhale to fold forward. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale to back bend. Inhaling up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhaling up halfway. And exhaling your hands to the top of your mat, stepping back, going through your Vinyasa. In our down dog, reaching the tailbone up, but keeping the abs tucked in, still reaching your chest to your thighs, still breathing deeply. And on the inhale, stepping in between your hands, coming up halfway. Exhale, folding forward. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale to back bend. Inhaling up. And exhale, folding forward. Inhaling up halfway. Exhaling your hands to the mat. Stepping back and going through your Vinyasa. Meeting in our downward dog. And here we'll inhale the right leg up. And exhale, placing it in between your hands, pointing the toes forward in 2 lanes, rising up the arms and torso, tucking the tailbone under, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, making sure the hips are squared. Breathing deeply, finding a point to focus on. And exhaling, lowering your hands to the mat, stepping back and going through your Vinyasa. And meeting back in our downward dog. Inhale the left leg up. And exhaling it in between the hands. Same thing as on the other side, rising up the arms and torso, pointing the hips forward, relaxing the shoulders, staying with your breath, breathing deeply, constricting the back of your throat on the exhale. And lowering the hands down to the mat, stepping back, going through your Vinyasa. And from our downward dog, we'll inhale the right leg up, exhaling it in between the hands, lowering the back heel, opening up to a warrior 2. So you're checking your front knee to make sure that it's pointing straight forward, palms are facing down. Looking out over your fingertips. And starting to hinge forward into that front leg. Reaching forward. And maybe reaching that right arm underneath your leg, reaching your left arm back for a bind. Pushing into your feet. Engaging your legs. Breathing. Releasing the hands to undo the bind. Reaching your arms up and then placing them down on the mat to go down through your Vinyasa. Meeting back in our downward dog. Inhaling the left leg. And exhaling it in between the hands, lowering the back heel, opening up to warrior 2 on the other side. Checking your front knee so that it's not turning inwards. Looking out over your fingers, straightening your spine. Enjoying the power of this pose. And hinging forward into that front leg. And we'll go for a bind, reaching the left arm underneath the leg, your right arm behind your back, trying to touch the fingers together. And we'll slowly release the bind, placing hands at the top of your mat, stepping back and going through your Vinyasa. And we meet back in our downward dog, reconnecting with your intention. And inhaling, stepping both feet in between the hands, coming up halfway. Exhale, folding forward. Inhaling the arms up overhead. And exhale, bending your knees, tucking your tailbone under, bringing the weight into the heels. One more breath. And straightening the legs. And exhale, folding forward. You can grab opposite elbow and release the neck. Or maybe you can grab behind your legs. Maybe rocking from heel to toe. And inhaling up halfway to our flat back position. You're really using your low back to keep your spine straight, barely hovering your fingertips over your shins. Bringing your weight forward into the toes. And lowering your hands down to the mat. Stepping back, going through your vinyasa. And we meet back in our downward dog. Inhaling the right leg up. Exhaling it in between the hands. And rising up the arms 45 degrees, so you're leaning forward into the front leg. And you're on your back toe. Arms are by your ears. Engaging your quad. And then rising up your torso, straightening both legs, hands on hips, squaring the hips. And exhale, folding forward halfway down to a flat back. Pushing down into the mat with your toes. And releasing your hands down to the mat, folding forward as much as feels good, releasing the neck. Making sure to keep the hips squared. And inhaling, placing your hands in front of you and then lifting up the left leg behind you for a standing split. Keeping the left toe pointed down so the hips are squared. And folding forward as much as feels good, lifting the left leg. And then releasing that leg down, shooting the right leg back, going down through your vinyasa. And from our down dog, inhaling the left leg up, exhaling it in between the hands, rising up the torso halfway to that humble warrior, leaning into the left leg, gauging the quad. And inhaling, straightening the front leg, hands on hips, pointing the toes forward and folding forward halfway to your flat back. And then releasing those hands down, folding forward. And walking the hands out to the top of your mat, bringing your weight into the left foot, lifting the right leg up behind you for standing split. Folding forward, keeping that right leg lifted. And then landing that right leg out behind you, stepping back with the left to go down through your vinyasa. Meeting back in our down dog. Inhaling the left leg up. And stepping in between your hands, turning the toes to face the long side of your mat. Hands on hips as you rise your torso up to stand. And we'll point the toes outward 45 degrees. Bringing the arms up to cactus, and then bending the legs, tucking your tailbone under, coming to goddess pose. We want to keep the knees pointed out and reaching the elbows back. Pushing in to the mat with your toes. And exhale, standing, straightening the legs, hands on hips as you point the toes forward. And fold forward halfway to our flat back. And exhale, folding forward, releasing your hands down as much as feels good. Maybe behind your legs, maybe on the floor. Breathing deeply. And placing hands on hips, slowly rising the torso to stand. And pointing the toes outwards again. Bringing hands to heart center. As you bend your knees, coming to yogi squat. Maybe using your elbows to open up the knees outwards. And slowly straightening your legs. And then widening your stance as we'll do a side lunge, bending your right leg. You can keep your hands at heart center or you can release them onto the ground in front of you if that feels better. Flexing the left foot. And then straightening the legs, coming back to center and exhaling, bending the left leg. Coming to a side lunge on that side, flexing the right foot. And straightening both legs, turning to face the top of your mat. Stepping back and going through your vinyasa. From our down dog. And we'll meet in a seated position with legs extended out in front. Engaging the legs, inhaling the arms up, and exhale, folding forward, reaching your chin to your toes so that we're hinging at the hips. Flexing the feet if that feels good for you. And then exhaling, releasing the neck down. And inhaling the arms and torso up. Bending in your left leg, inhaling your arms up over the right and folding forward. First, bringing chin to toes. And then releasing the head down. Inhaling the arms and torso up. Bending in both legs so your feet are touching in butterfly, straightening the spine. And folding forward slightly, but keeping your low back straight. Trying to lower the knees without pushing them. And slowly rising up the torso. And then bending in the right leg and extending the left leg out long. Inhaling arms up. Exhale, folding forward, reaching chin to toes. And releasing the neck down. Engaging that left leg. Inhaling the arms and torso up. Reaching both legs out in front, and then inhaling arms up and folding forward once more. Trying to reach a little deeper this time. Keep engaging the legs. Still breathing deeply through the nose. And inhaling the arms and torso up. Crossing the legs, hands at the top of your mat. Stepping back, going through your vinyasa. Meeting back in our downward dog. Inhaling the right leg up. Exhaling it in between the hands, lowering the back knee to the mat. Rising the torso up, both hands on the right knee. You're engaging your quads as you're gently pushing the hips forward. Pushing down with the left foot behind you. Keeping the spine straight. And pushing back to straighten that right leg. And folding forward, one hand on either side of the leg. You can also sit back on your heel if this is too intense. Or if you'd like more of a challenge, flexing the right foot. And rising the torso up, coming onto both knees, hands behind your back. Pushing the hips forward, leaning backwards. And rising up the torso. Pushing back to plank and going down through your vinyasa. From our down dog, inhaling the left leg up. Exhaling it in between the hands. Lowering the right knee to the mat, rising up the torso, hands on the left knee. Spine is straight, pushing down with the right leg behind you into the toe, the top of your foot. And then we'll push back to straighten the left leg and fold forward one hand on either side. Remember, you can sit back on your heel. Keeping the hips squared. And then rising up the torso, coming onto both knees. Hands behind your back for a camel modification, leaning backwards. Or if it feels good to go to full camel, you can place your hands on your ankles. And then we'll rise the torso, sit back on the heels, walking the hands out in front, resting on your forehead. You can open your knees wide or keep them closed, whichever feels better. Breathing deeply. And then shifting your weight forward, coming to plank, and going through your Vinyasa. Meeting in our down dog. And then we'll shift our weight forward to plank, keeping our abs tucked in. And then bring your right knee to your nose and shoot it back to plank. And again, right knee to nose, back to plank. And again, right knee to nose and back to plank. Right knee to nose, back to plank. And then right knee to right wrist. You can make your shin as parallel to the front of the mat as you would like, or bending it for pigeon. And walking your hands out in front to rest in sleeping pigeon, making sure your hips are squared. Listening to your knee here. Breathing deeply. Starting to walk your hands back to center, pushing back to your plank position. And bringing your left knee to your nose, shooting it to plank. Left knee to nose, back to plank. Left knee to nose, back to plank. And then left knee to left wrist. Releasing that leg down for pigeon. Squaring the hips. And then walking those hands out in front. Releasing the forehead down. Breathing deeply. And starting to walk your hands back to the top of your mat. Shooting your leg back to plank. And going down through your Vinyasa. And from our down dog, we'll come to meet back in a seated position, extending both legs outwards and reaching for your big toe with your 2 pointer fingers. You're engaging your quads, pushing your legs into the mat as you fold forward. Keep engaging your legs. And then releasing your hands out in front of you to fold forward as much as feels good. And walking your hands back to center. Inhaling the left arm up and over, looking upwards. Still pushing down into the mat with your legs. Inhaling up to center and lifting your right arm up and over, looking upwards. Inhaling back up to center. Closing the legs and crossing them. Hands at the top of your mat, stepping back and going through your vinyasa. And from this down dog, we'll meet lying down on our backs. Feet touching the mat, hands palm face down, and inhaling, lifting the hips up. Breathing into the belly. And slowly lowering the hips, lifting the feet up, bending the legs so you can grab onto the outside of your feet. And maybe rock side to side. And then releasing the feet, hugging the knees into the chest. Lowering both knees to the right side, looking to the left. And bringing knees back to center. And lowering them down to the left side, looking to the right. And bringing both knees back to center. Inhaling your feet up. You can stay there or lift your hips up, holding onto your hips for supported shoulder stand. Shooting your toes straight upwards. Maybe bringing your feet down behind your head for plow. And then beginning to lower the hips down to the mat. And lowering the legs down slowly. Opening them up mat width distance. And pointing the toes outwards. Extending the arms out, palm face up. Coming to our final Shavasana pose. Just allowing yourself to find stillness in your body and mind for the next few minutes. Taking a deep breath in and out, wiggling your fingers and toes, bending your arms and legs, and rolling onto your favorite side. And when you're ready, pushing up to a seated position, keeping your eyes closed. Straightening your spine, bringing hands to heart center, expressing gratitude for your practice, your mind and your body. Remembering the intention that you set, and bowing your head, leaving your ego below your heart. Namaste. Thank you guys for joining me for Vinyasa Yoga, the intermediate series. Have a great day.